Hello, my friends. Happy Halloween to you. Do you guys like my costume? I am dressed as the weak old man at the bar from the movie The Wedding Singer. I hope you like it. We are talking about the SRA curve today. That is the Stimulus Recovery and Adaptation Curve. What the heck is that? The SRA curve represents how you create improvement and increases in muscle size and strength in the gym. You go to the gym, there is a training stimulus. Some amount of fatigue and tissue damage is created, causing a temporary decrease in performance. This decrease in performance can last from several hours to several days. While you're in this state of decreased performance, your body also begins to heal and bring the whole system back to a normal level, back to baseline. As you recover, adaptation will also begin. Adaptations can be defined as how much performance you gain above the baseline when the training stimulus occurred. You might say, I don't give two shits about your stupid graph. Fair enough. But understanding the SRA curve will give you a better idea of how to structure your training frequency, your rest, and when to emphasize different phases of training like hypertrophy, strength, and power. The SRA curve is basically an average of the multiple systems that are involved in strength training. There are 4 SRA curves or 4 systems that we want to talk about that recover and adapt at different rates. And they are technical ability, hypertrophy, force output, and connective tissue. We will talk about each one of them, starting with technical ability. The nervous system is involved in producing the sequence of muscle contractions used to perform a lift or any coordinated activity. That could be as simple as a bench press or as technical as a clean and jerk or even something like a golf swing. The more you practice a particular movement, the more fatigue you create. You will notice that if you do a ton of reps of a particular movement pattern, your technique will eventually begin to break down. Your nervous system gets fatigued from doing the same movement pattern over and over again. But this technical ability recovers very quickly. Technical ability is the fastest SRA curve. You can see on this graph that technical abilities can recover within several hours to about 1 day. Next is the hypertrophy SRA curve. Hypertrophy is muscular growth. During a resistance training session, your muscles are under stress. There is some minor tissue damage. Some muscle is broken down. Over a period of time, the body recovers and synthesizes new muscle, and adaptations are made. Looking at the graph, FSR is the fractional synthetic rate of muscle growth, and it's the rate at which muscle is added in the body. Hypertrophy training takes several days from the time of the stimulus to maximum adaptation. The hypertrophy SRA curve is the second fastest curve. Next is the force production SRA curve. We are talking about how much force the nervous system can signal the body to create, how many muscle fibers or motor units the nervous system can recruit at any given time. Experienced lifters can generate more force than novice lifters with the same amount of muscle mass. They are able to recruit more existing muscle. There was a study that showed that only 71% of muscle tissue is activated during maximal effort in untrained populations. So looking at the graph, the force production curve looks the same as technical ability and hypertrophy. It just takes longer. After an optimal stimulus, a resistance training session that taxes your maximum force production abilities, it could take a week or more to fully recover and adapt. The force production SRA curve is the third fastest curve. Finally, we have the connective tissue SRA curve. Heavy training leads to a normal low level of connective tissue damage. This damage stimulates adaptation, but the recovery time is fairly long because of the poor blood supply to cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and bones. We can see from the graph that even after appropriate training stimulus, the process of fully healing and adapting connective tissues could take weeks or even months. So to highlight the different lengths of the SRA curves, technical ability recovers in about 1 day. Your muscles will take several days. Your ability to produce maximal force takes about a week. And your connective tissues could take weeks to months to fully adapt to the training stimulus. So how can we incorporate this knowledge into our training? Let's look at a typical periodized training cycle. As a reminder, periodization is just breaking a training plan into blocks, with each block having a specific goal. We generally have a hypertrophy phase, a strength phase, and a power phase. For hypertrophy training, we are talking about high volume and high rep ranges, anywhere from about 6 reps to as high as 20 reps. This type of training will stress the muscles the most, the hypertrophy SRA curve the most, with other systems less affected. The strength phase, sets of 6 reps or less, will affect the force production SRA curve more, and the other systems to a lesser degree. The power phase, sets of 1 to 3 reps. The force production and connective tissue SRA curves are most affected, and technique is something that can be worked on every day. So this information to me just highlights the need to periodize your training, the need to vary your training throughout the cycle. If you only lift super heavy all the time, your connective tissues won't get adequate time to recover and adapt. On the other hand, if you are only doing sets of 20 reps to increase muscular size, you won't maximize your force production capabilities, and you won't put the stress on your connective tissues to maximize their development and keep up with your muscular gains. I think the awareness of the differing lengths of the SRA curves reinforces the importance of periodization in your training, taxing different SRA curves at different times, allowing the various systems and resistance training adequate time to recover and adapt. That's all I got this week. Please consider liking or disliking this video and leaving a mean comment. Happy Halloween, and see you next week.